In this video, I'm going to show you how to rank your website with SEO, or search engine optimization, and the latest and greatest strategies. Getting your website to the top of the search engine rankings is one of the most important and valuable parts in all of marketing, because having the greatest and nicest looking website in the world doesn't mean much if nobody can find it. So let me help you fix that now by breaking down what's often seen as one of the most complicated parts of all of marketing, SEO, by giving you a nice and clean and easy set of steps that you can follow to immediately get your business's website ranking for your keywords. So let me show you how it's done. Alright, let's talk SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization, and is essentially exactly what it sounds like: optimizing your website or your content to be found higher in the varying search engines. Now, when most people think of SEO, they naturally think of the biggest and baddest search engine of them all, Google. But you may also be surprised to know that there are other search engines out there like Yahoo and Bing, as well as YouTube and even social media networks like Pinterest. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to optimize your website so you can be found by all of the different search engines and start to rank higher for them. And we're going to be using Wix to do this. A special thank you to Wix for sponsoring this video and for supporting the channel. So I'm going to be putting a link for you to check them out in the description box below, and I highly recommend you do. Also, at the end of this video, as soon as we're done getting our website all set up and optimized and ready to dominate those search engine rankings, well, I'm also going to be sharing with you some of my top SEO tips and tricks and lessons that I've learned over the last 10 years of owning and operating an SEO agency. If you follow these tips and you follow the lessons that I'm going to be sharing with you here in this video, then your website is going to be able to do exactly what it was designed to do, which is to get found and to help you get more customers, more clients, more sales, and grow your business. So definitely make sure you stick around right till the end. And with all that said, let's hop into Wix right now. Start optimizing. All right, so here we are inside the Wix dashboard. Now, in order to optimize our site, the very first thing that I want to do is click Get Found on Google, which brings up this nice SEO plan. The beauty of this is that you really don't have to have a deep understanding of SEO, because it's going to walk you through everything step by step by step. You simply click the button, enter the information, and you're pretty much off to the races. So we're going to do just that. We're going to start at the top and work our way down. Now, I've labeled this site My Site 1, which is completely generic, but again, that's why you're going to be able to swap out whatever your site is, whatever your business name is, whatever your keyword is. The search engines really don't care what you're calling yourself, provided that you actually have a business that people are searching for and you're using the right term. And in fact, that's a good tip here, is that when you're naming your business or you're naming your services or you're trying to come up with keywords, make sure that they're not your internal keywords and what you think, but do a little bit of research and find out what people are actually searching for. Because if nobody is looking for the term that you're trying to rank for, it's not going to do you a whole lot of good. So the very first thing we want to do is make sure that our title is set for the search results, so we can see that we've got one keyword included, we have our business or site name that appears, and we have a proper length for a title. We don't want something that just rambles on and on forever. So of course, we've got current SEO title of Test and My Site. Now, if I wanted to change that, all I would have to do is come over here. And in fact, we might as well do that now. Why don't we say we're going to start doing some business stuff, and our keyword that we want is business, just like that. And we could add some more if we wanted, but we'll say our business name, our site name is business, and we're ranking for business. Very broad keyword. Obviously, you're going to want to be a little more specific, include something a little more long tail to have a chance of ranking for these terms. But for the sake of this example, this will work perfectly. All right, so you can see that by changing the keyword to business, by changing the title to business for the website, well, it's now marked it from a green check to a little red warning sign. So let's fix that now. Now, the beauty is all we've got to do is come down here to editor. You can see the examples and the instructions are set right here. So we'll go menus, pages, our little ellipses, SEO, and etc., etc. And Well, let's hop in and do it now. Okay, so here we are inside of the editor, and fortunately, it really is just as simple as going through this now and editing the things that we need it to say. So for example, we know that our keyword is business, we know that the title of our page is business, but we could call it whatever we want as long as we're making sure that we're including the title and the keyword in. Now, in a perfect world, we'd probably call this a little something different or put some kind of information in there that would be relevant, because you can see this is what people are going to see when they go to the search engines. And the last thing we want is just some random title that they're not going to understand. So we'll put that in there. While we're here, we might as well add a description for what our website is about. This is going to be another important factor as we go through the SEO. So we'll say business and marketing strategies and advice. Entrepreneurs, business owners, and marketers. And you can see that it all fits there as well for our preview. So we're pretty much good there. And let's go save. And then we'll hop back to the dashboard and we'll take a look and see if we pass the test. So now that we are back here, well, all we need to do is hit this little refresh button and hopefully we see these things change to green. And just like that, we've got our green check mark sign of approval. So we're pretty much good to go. So now we can move on to the next one. Now, of course, the next point is our SEO description for what's going to appear in the search results. Now, we just did this, kind of got a little bit ahead there, but the beauty is that it's going to make sure that we've done things correctly. So we've got at least one of our keywords included. We've included our business or our site name, and we have the appropriate length. So again, you're looking for all of these to go green. And if we've got some red, well, then easy fix. All we have to do is hop back over to the editor and then change things as required. So there's our page description. Now we can do homepage text optimized. Again, the homepage is one of the most important parts of your entire website because this is the main sort of directory that the website's going to crawl, the search engines are going to crawl in order to categorize you. So you want to really make sure that this is set up right. So again, include your keywords, make sure your business or site name is all set. And of course, we can come to the editor and we can make sure that all of that is working perfectly, which we see it is. That's why we've got our green check mark. The next thing, the homepage is visible in search results. Oh man, I couldn't even begin to tell you the amount of times that I've worked on different websites with different platforms and the website just wasn't ranking. Nobody could figure it out. I came in as a consultant. I looked through the back end of their website editor, whether it was whatever kind of platform, and sure enough, there was a button very similar to this, show this page in search results, and it was off. And literally all we had to do was just turn it back on and the website started ranking. Obviously it took a couple weeks for it to get re-indexed and re-crawled by the search engines, but that is all it takes. So regardless, make sure that that button is set so people can actually find you. Next, site is mobile friendly. This is absolutely fundamental, very important. In fact, over 50% of all website visits are done on a mobile device or something other than a desktop computer, which means you don't just want to make sure that your website works on a mobile device, you actually want to make sure that it's optimized for a mobile device, meaning it looks as good or even better than it would on a desktop device. Now, fortunately, by using the Wix editor, well, we know how it's going to look. We know it's going to look just fine. We're able to switch to mobile here. We're able to see how it's going to look on a mobile device, make sure that everything is fully optimized, it looks good, nothing's cut off, nothing's getting stretched weird or blown out of proportion or anything like that. So fortunately, we've got our green check. Moving on, we could connect our site to a domain. This is important because you don't just want to use the main URL that you're given. You want to actually use a custom and branded domain, something .com, your business name.com, your personal name.com, or .co, or .ca, or .co.uk, wherever it is that you're from, whatever kind of domain ending you want to use. But really make sure that you're going and linking it up with your domain service. So again, it's just going to be that much more professional and the search engines like it too. Now we're going to save that part for later, so we're not going to get our satisfying green check just yet, but the next thing you would want to do is connect to Google Search Console. Again, this is going to allow you to tap into all of the power that the Google Search Console has for you, allow you to really optimize your website, make sure that you've done everything that Google wants you to do. And again, like I talked about right at the beginning, when you appease Google, when you design and you use best practices, you follow the best SEO guidelines, well, when you do that for Google, you kind of get the benefits with Yahoo, with Bing, with YouTube if you're using videos, with different social media networks. You see, SEO is kind of always the same regardless of what network that we're using, what search engine, but by optimizing for Google, well, we kind of get the benefit of everything else downstream. All right, so with step 1 taken care of, it's time to move on to step 2, optimizing our site pages for the search engine. So just like we did with step 1, we'll start at the top and we'll work our way down, starting with updating the contact details on your homepage. Now, again, remember, we're looking for those green check marks. Want to stay away from these red exclamation points. So you can see we've already got contact info appearing, but we need to personalize our email address and update the phone number. So we're going to do this by going to the editor, menus, pages, picking the right page, and then editing our contact details. So what we do, come over here to pages, then we come down to the page that we want, which is contact. We can click over and we'll go to SEO for Google, and you can see all of the details that we need here. All right, so with step 1 out of the way, it's time to move on to step 2, optimizing your site pages for the search engines. And just like step 1, we're going to start at the top and work our way down. Now, the very first thing we need to do is make sure that our contact info is all set up on the homepage. You can see that we've got some green checks, but let me walk you through exactly how it's done. So the very first thing we want to do is click back over to our editor, and you'll see that I'm here on our sample homepage. And then what they're looking for here, what the SEO guide is looking for, is this little box down here, essentially making sure that we've got the right mail and the right phone number and that it's been updated for you. Now, clearly test@adam.com and 555 are not my real number. However, this is where you would put yours. And then once that's done, you hit save and you come back, you hit refresh, and you get your green check mark, essentially making sure we've got our contact info, our email address, etc., etc. The same thing applies with our social networks. Now, the reason you want to connect your social networks to your homepage is for a couple different reasons. The first of which is for credibility and authority, improving that you're an actual business that exists and that people can find and reach out to. But the second is because there's a very powerful backlink that occurs when you join your Facebook, your Instagram, your YouTube, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your Pinterest, whatever it is with your website. That's sending a powerful signal that your business is actually legitimate. It wasn't just randomly created. It doesn't have a social profile or anything like that. So it's very important that you do put in the right kind of links. You make sure to sign up for at least the basic social media networks in order to link them to your website. So hopping back over to our editor, you'll see that we've got a social bar down here. If there is not one there, or you're building one from scratch without using a template, you can simply add your own, but all you need to do is click on it, click the social links, and then go through each one that you want, adding or removing the relevant social networks for you, and changing in the right kind of link to make sure that it is the address that you want. So for example, we'll put in my YouTube one there. We'll say done, we'll go done, we've got it saved, we'll hit save, and then we'll hop back to the dashboard, we'll hit our little refresh, and we'll see the YouTube one should go green. And just like magic, it did go green, and that is literally how you set up and link your social networks in just a few seconds. All right, next, homepage text hyperlinks are set up, meaning that we want to link other pages both out from our homepage as well as back to our homepage. This helps to distribute something we in the SEO world call link juice. Essentially, all of the power and all of the backlinks that are coming to your site get spread out accordingly and appropriately to the relevant pages. So make sure to link out and make sure to link back in like we've done. And then we're going to follow the same process we did with our homepage on our About page, making sure that we've got our business site name, making sure we've got the right length, making sure we have the description, and all of that's optimized. So let's do that now by coming over to Pages, clicking our About page, coming over to SEO for Google, and then doing basically exactly what we did before. So we'll say About, and then we know our keyword is business, so we'll leave that there, and we'll say Adam Erhart, business and marketing consulting and strategies. All right, and we'll hit save. And just like we're getting familiar with, we'll come back here, we'll hit refresh, and we'll wait for that little red exclamation point to go green with our sign of approval. Of course, we've done the description while we were at it. We made sure that our About page text is optimized by including our keywords in the content. And we're going to talk more about keywords and some fancy talk called LSI as soon as we're done here. But for now, we're basically all set. We've gone through, we've got the right email address, we've done the right phone number, everything is going good. And of course, we can repeat the process with the contact page. Again, very much the same like we did for the homepage, like we did for the About page, and like the services page. Very important pages. You see, when it comes to your website, there is a hierarchy of the pages that are going to get the most traffic and are therefore worth optimizing first and really thoroughly. Your homepage is clearly the winner here, but next is that About page. Tends to get a very large percentage of your traffic. Just take a look at your analytics and you'll find just a remarkable amount of people that come to your website are going to check out your About page as well. So really make sure that it's optimized. From there, it's going to be a bit of a split on your contact or your services, depending on what you're doing. And with all of that, we'll get all of our green checklists and, well, we can move on to step 3, which is essentially we'll be able to keep going with an SEO guide, or if you'd like some help, you can reach out to Wix in order to hire an SEO partner. All right, so with all that said, now let's dive into some of my top tips to really help you take your optimization to the next level. And it all starts with tip number 1, understanding that content matters. You see, the way that the search engines decide what's on your website, just how relevant it is to a searcher's query or question, well, it all comes down to the content, the way that you've structured your page, as well as the actual stuff that's on that page. Now, of course, we've already looked at things like titles and headings and body copy and making sure we've included relevant keywords, but we need to take it a step further by really beefing up your content and making sure that it's as relevant and as valuable and as interesting as possible. Something that would allow you to get someone's attention and then keep their attention. Now in SEO, we have a term for websites and pages specifically that don't have a whole lot of stuff on them, and we call this thin content. And, well, probably no surprise, the search engines really don't like it. Now, the reason they don't like it is multifaceted, but a big reason is because it's just not providing that much value to the audience that's there to get an answer. But the other side of it is because, well, they really don't know what it's about if you're not giving them any information. You see, the content on your site is what tells the search engines what's on your site. They're not mind readers, you know. Now, when it comes to creating content on your website in order to rank for your search terms, there's no need to do keyword stuffing or to essentially take your keyword and just jam it in every single place. The search engines and definitely your customers and clients, well, they're smarter than that. The search engines also use something called LSI, which is fancy talk for latent semantic indexing, which is also fancy talk for basically just words that are like other words or synonyms. This is why you don't need to focus on one specific keyword, but rather you can talk about all kinds of different areas around it. So for example, let's say you're trying to rank for terms around, I don't know, say dogs. Well, you could obviously write content about dogs, but you could also write about dog walking and dog houses and dog training, dog treats and dog food. That's about all I can think of. Anyway, with enough proper keyword research, you're going to find all kinds of different things that you can write that are going to be relevant and specific and sort of different synonyms for your little furry friend, or canine friend, if you catch what I'm saying. All right, the next incredibly important tip is to understand that even though we're doing optimization for the search engines, you still need to put people first. You see, while it's important to understand that during this video, I've talked a lot about the technical side of SEO, making sure that we have the proper structure and the proper proper titles and all of the stuff that goes into it. But you have to remember that at the end of the day, well, it's not the search engines that are using your website. It's people. This is why, again, we don't want to keyword stuff. We don't want to write nonsense just because it has the right words or the right combination of characters or anything like that. We want to write content that's interesting and that's valuable and that's written for human beings, the people that are actually going to find you and then ultimately hire you. Anyway, the big takeaway for this point is to make sure that your content is understandable, that it's readable, that it flows, and that it doesn't look like typical SEO content. All right, and the next tip is all about quantity and essentially more stuff. This means more words, more pages, more videos, more content. See, as we've already talked about, content is how the search engines decide, well, what your website and what your pages are about, but you can make it that much more valuable and that much more interesting and relevant by really just increasing the amount of content on your site, making it that much more of a valuable resource to your potential visitors. As I've already said, the search engines really don't like websites or pages with thin content, so they're unlikely to rank, they're unlikely to be shown when somebody's searching for something. So what does this mean for you? Well, it means we need more stuff. We need longer posts. We need longer pages. We need pages with videos embedded on them. We need information. We need value. We need stories. We need ways of engaging people and keeping them on your website as long as possible, which as an added benefit is another very powerful signal to the search engines that your website is worth ranking for. After all, just think about it. If somebody clicks on your website's link, they go to your site and they stay there for a while, then it's providing a pretty good indicator to the search engines that this is a valuable site, a valuable page that people actually want to use. On the other hand, if they click a link, they get to your site and they immediately click the back button known as bouncing, well, this is a very negative signal to send to the search engines that says, oh, they searched for this, they found you, they weren't happy, so they left. And you can guess what that does for your potential search engine rankings. If you guessed tanking them, you're correct. So as you may have seen by these tips, there's a bit of a theme here, and that theme is none other than content marketing, something that'll really help you, not only with all of your marketing, but specifically with your SEO. So in order to help you do even better content marketing, the next thing you're gonna wanna do is check out the video I have linked up right here. So make sure to check that out now, as well as the link for Wix in the description box below, and I'll see you in the next video. You see, one of the biggest reasons that most content marketing fails to really hit the mark and drive home any measurable results is that it's created with the content creator in mind